Okay, hi. Hey, if you're new here, welcome to the FitZen Project. And if you're not, you already know we don't play small around here. I'm Rachel, corporate project executive by day, yoga teacher and retreat host by passion, and a woman wildly committed to helping you stop outsourcing your power. This show is where structure meets soul, where we regulate the nervous system and scale the business, and where we stop pretending burnout is normal. Quick love to the humans and brands that brought this show, and I actually use all these in real life. Rage Create for bold, creative entrepreneurs, Lotus and Luna, Lifeform Yoga Mat, and Breathwork with Tabitha DeBruin. She is a game changer. Links are in the show notes. Support the ones that support this work. And all right, let's get it. Let's talk about today. Hey guys, all right, welcome to the FitZen Project. Yes, it is here. Okay, I hope you had a good weekend, right? Like, always hope you have a good weekend, and not just saying that. I really, really do. This past weekend for me, I had my hometown wedding celebration. It was so cool to have both my and Josh's, all of our personalities under the same roof. It was a little bit overwhelming, but also like in a very, very good way. So that was very exciting, and I feel humbled and complete and all the things in between. It was really neat to get to experience that. So wedding festivities are officially over, and now it's time to be married and life, I guess. So, but with that, I had all of my best friends in town. And it brings me to this incredible story today and that I'm sharing with you with a dear friend of mine. His name is Alex Jones, and he lives out in Oregon. We were besties about 20 or so, a little bit longer years ago. We worked together at the college program at Disney World in Florida. So if you know about it, you know, right? Like, you know. So anyway, this message that he's sharing today, I really hope you stay tuned through the whole entire thing, because it is something that I feel our world, our culture, just the entire existence just doesn't know enough about. And this disease that he's going to speak through today is one of those that we need to genuinely pay attention to, right? Then we need to notice the signs, and we need to be able to be in service and be in stewardship of the people in our lives that are going through this, and a lot of times don't know that that's what they're going through. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I enjoyed having it. So here's Alex Jones. All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Alex Jones, welcome to the FitZen Project. I'm so freaking happy to get to have this conversation with you today.
Me too.
Man, I've been looking forward to this because just a little background. Alex was my BFF, my numero uno. Oh my gosh, 22 years ago?
We're getting old, man.
21 years ago? Oh my goodness. All the way back in the Disney college program days.
It was right around this time of year too. We were probably like getting accepted, like 20.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. My dad was like, "You're never going to do it. I don't know why you keep talking about it." I'm like, "Done." And then they were like, "Oh, you're
Doing
accepted." I'm like, "Oh my God, I can't go now."
it. Right? Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. I would have to admit that.
It really was. And we had to like interview and everything for that. That was it
Ah,
was a good
one of the
time.
like tougher interviews I probably ever did, honestly.
It was pretty tough. It was tough. Like, Disney's no joke. Well, they set the standard for, like, every single business in the
Yes,
world.
yes, they do. I try to incorporate their practices in what I do too. So,
Oh, yeah? Well, let's talk about that. What is it that you do?
so little bit of background. I mean, I come from a banking background for a really long time, right? So I was in banking for like 15 years. Often say I'm a recovering banker. But I mean, there's a lot of great tools and things. I'm very thankful for that past career. But now I'm doing a dementia care training, and I work at an adult day center where we take care of seniors, mostly with dementia. I'd say probably somewhere between 80 and 90% either have dementia or a different form of cognitive decline. And then I also do dementia care training for the state of Oregon, do Oregon Care Partners. I'm a TIPA Snow certified dementia care trainer, and she's pretty cool rock star in the dementia care sphere space. Very down to earth and very kind of real life applications. Like not a lot of beating around the bush. She cusses at you in her training, things like that. So that's a lot of what I'm doing now, and it's actually really kind of been a humbling experience because coming from more of the professional area to now being where it's more about like the human aspect has been, I think, really cool and rewarding, but also like there's some emotions there too. Cause when people leave us, it's not like at the bank where they close an account and they leave to go to a different bank. Here, most of our people are leaving because they either pass away or they're getting placed, for good in a facility. And so a lot of times we have some pretty tough things to deal with as employees here and things like that. But I think it's been really cool to just get filling the bucket on the other side. I've had enough time making billionaires more money, and now I'm more like, I want to help people in my community and make kind of that difference. And so
Wow.
my mom opened up, it's called GenTog, it's Generations Together. So we have adult day center on one side, and then on the other side we have a preschool. And then we bring them together throughout the day we call it grandparents time or IG time. And so like my son goes here, technically graduates next week, which is again, super crazy to me because I feel like I blinked and he turned 5. But it's been really cool to just be seeing him engage because like my grandparents on both of my sides have passed away. And so of course he has like my parents and my wife's parents, but it's cool to see him having these additional relationships with seniors and just the way he navigates that. It's really cool to see that and like the empathy that it makes him display. So it's pretty cool to be able to see my son every day when I'm bringing him to school, and then getting to see my mom and stuff too. Working together with her has been really, really rewarding.
Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. There's so much I want to talk about with this. I would love that for me and my own son. I mean, he goes to Yay summer camp, which is my mom.
But
The
yeah, I feel like
exact.
that's the best. Yeah, so they get to be with family. That's so.
They're they've literally been on a trip for 3 weeks now. He gets back on Saturday. I'm dying on the
I was saying, I know
inside.
you've been missing him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dying on the inside, but couldn't he could not care any less about where I'm at or what I'm doing. This is like, "I'm having
He's
such a
having
good
fun with
time.
grandma.
I get a stuffy every day."
Yeah, the grandparents do spoil. That is for sure.
They do. So, I love where you're at, though, in this, dementia care training and your adult daycare with the preschool on the other side. I
Yeah.
mean, talk about, once the man, twice the baby, and bringing that together.
Yeah.
You're such a bridge.
It was really interesting. So my mom actually, she started it with her best friend. She same thing, kind of worked in the corporate world for a really long time, and they ended up like the places she was at for like I want to say almost 30 some odd years. Like consolidated, and we're moving everything down to California, and that was not her desire at all. And so she was kind of at a point where she was like, I have a good amount of retirement saved up, that sort of thing. I'm in a good place. I think it's time I do what I wanted because she wanted this type of program when I was a baby and it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So why she wanted the intergenerational piece. And so that's why she started with her best friend 18 years ago now. We celebrate our 18th anniversary in April. And so it's been really cool. We had our first kid who started as a baby here. She just graduated this year. One of the babies are not baby anymore of our senior directors. It's her granddaughter. And so it's been really cool to kind of see some of that, like that full circle. My older boys both went through here as well as my younger son that's here now. And so just kind of seeing that and seeing like them getting that time, like when my grandpa went here before he had passed, and just that additional time they got with grandparents that they never would have.
Yeah.
But also I think it's really unique because one, seeing that the magic that the seniors get, because they miss that a lot, right? Like they lose so much of their community, especially within dementia. And so it gives them that opportunity to be able to engage with younger people, not just babies and kids, but also like a lot of our staff are younger.
Mhm.
Like we have a gentleman, we always say he's kind of a gem, a jewel, 21-year-old kid, started as an intern when he was in high school with us. but just he loves to like share about his weekends with them. And the seniors just get the biggest kick out of hearing this little 21-year-old guy talking about, going to either I went to the bar with my friends or, I was just hit the gym this weekend, but whatever it is, they just like eat it up. Getting to hear like young people's lives. I think there's just something special about that.
Yeah.
And we do lots of stuff, dancing, parties. Our music director he's a performer and he does concerts and stuff around Portland. But he's quite often does like impromptu concerts throughout the day here. Just if it kind of they're getting bored or something, he just busts out his guitar and we've got seniors up dancing and singing together. And seeing that, like the magic of music too, with the different generations is really cool. Cause like one of the few things that they don't lose in dementia. So lots of dancing and singing happens here for sure.
Oh, cold chills. I can totally feel like I could relate to that they would not lose the music piece and the aspect because, I mean, I know just recently our kids are the same age and we are very musically inclined people. Like, that was our, like, connection back in the day. Like, and when we see that in your kids, it's innate,
Yes.
right? And, like, they want to move their bodies, they wanna wiggle around and shake their booties, and they think it's so much fun, and I know that that's something that never truly leaves a human soul because that's
Yeah.
how you reach a little bit of freedom, and you shake out the anxiety, you shake out the nerves, and, like, you can talk about music through the nervous system and how it literally cures disease on
Like,
some levels. So
it's beautiful.
when you
Yeah.
are in that and you're in dementia patients, you
Mhm.
can probably see them come back to life when you
Yeah,
turn on that
that's one of
music.
the really cool things. And like when I do trainings, as far as like a lot of times in my classes that I have, it's a lot of times either family caregivers, sometimes professionals, but I'd say the majority are probably family caregivers, loved ones who are wanting to learn about the disease so they could be better equipped and have more understanding of what their person is going through. But that's like one of the top things. I'm like, whatever you can do anything else, but just include music in everyday life. Like it makes such a difference in how they respond and how they engage. I saw a really cool TED talk a while back where there's a gentleman talking about how they do like brain scans while music's playing with people with dementia versus when it's not, and how when music plays, like their brains light up like he says, like Christmas lights or like fireworks, and it's just beautiful to see like what is happening when that music is playing, and we've seen it so many times. Like we oftentimes, if people are getting close to passing, that sort of thing, we'll go visit them at their homes with hospice, and we'll sing songs with them. And there's one lady who she passed last year. Was one of my favorite ladies ever. Like super cool black lady from Alabama. Went to the University of Tuskegee in the 40s, which was like unheard of for a black woman at that time. But like she would full on sing songs. Like if you would try to talk to her, right, like she really couldn't give you a full sentence. But if you played songs like Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, or songs that are, very gospel hymns and things like that, she would grab the mic and would literally sing along with you, like the whole song. And it was
Wow.
just so cool to see.
Wow. I wish I had thought about this a while back. Like, my grandmother, she passed from dementia, and it was it got
Sorry.
really severe after a stroke,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is crazy. I mean, it was like, one of my grandmas, for example, she passed away November 9th, and my other grandma had a stroke, like, the very next day or something like that and never came back from it, and as a matter of fact, my wedding anniversary is the day we buried her, which is didn't even think that was non-intentional, it just was happening, it just happened, and one day my mom's like, "It's the day we buried Nana," and I'm like, "Oh, shit." But anyway.
at least now there's
It's
something
full
positive
circle.
tied to it as well, right?
Yeah. But it's great because I get to talk about her, and it's
Yeah.
just one of those she was my flower girl in my wedding, so it was really cool, with that, and where I was going with that, I wish I had known about the music piece, like,
Yeah.
when she was going through that, because I would give anything just to have seen her sing in her what she thought was amazing voice,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just see how it would have liked to have see her lit up. I would have loved to have seen that.
One of the those, like we always say, it's like one of the few blessings that we get left with within dementia, because I feel like so much gets robbed or taken from them, and it's one of the few
Yeah,
things that they keep pretty much to the very end, you know. And I think that's, as sad as it is, it's also beautiful at the same time. I think that's always kind of our goal, is trying to find those like pockets, moments where people can still, their person's back for even if it's 4 minutes, you know, an hour, whatever it is, taking advantage of those times, because there's still life in there, right? It's like so often
yeah.
we want to just kind of put people away, or it's like, oh, you know, they've lost this, like let's not even deal with it. And there's still a lot left to be had, and their life can be prolonged too, if we're taking advantage and working their brain and working their bodies and mind. You know, it makes such a difference.
Absolutely. How did you get into this? I mean, I know you said your mom, but was there a significant episode or a family member yourself that sparked
Probably,
this?
yeah, probably a few. So it's kind of interesting. So it was like, I was in banking during COVID, and I was in the training department. Loved being a trainer. Like, it's my favorite thing, is getting to talk to people and share knowledge. And unfortunately, though, you're right. Like, when they were going through kind of the financial issues that a lot of companies had during that time, training department's like one of the few places that doesn't really make money for a company, especially a place like a bank. So laid off a lot of us during that time. So I kind of was like, I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do, right? Like, my wife just had a baby. I'm sitting here in the middle of COVID, right? Like, my boys are at home with me. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, or if I continue banking? What do I do? And so I got into a nonprofit world for a little while, doing some financial education training, and training volunteers to do that, which it was beautiful and I loved it. But it just kind of hit a point where I was like, I was having to drive downtown to come into the office, and I was missing my boys at home, and there's those sort of things where it was kind of just a bit stressful. And so, I was like, I don't want to do this, right? Like, I want to do something different. And my wife at the time had just gotten a position at Nike. And so, we're kind of a space where, like, financially we were okay without me having a full-time corporate career. So I took a little bit of time off, and was like, bringing my son to school, and was talking to my mom, and I was like, like, do you need any help around here? Like, just literally looking to just kind of help out. And so it really just started as that. And she was like, sure, yeah, like, there's things I don't like to do. So, like, she hates going to marketing and going to networking groups, and I'm a
That's your
talker. So
dream.
I love engaging in those things. So I was like, I'll do that. I used to do it in banking, and this is way easier, because I'm not the 15th person selling you a loan. I'm somebody talking about something that, can help you. And so started doing that. And then she was like, we need some more help doing some of the training with our staff, because we don't really have any sort of like formal trainings. And so I kind of came on board in a really super part-time capacity at that time, probably like 10 hours a week. And then just really started loving it. And I was like, I don't want to leave behind this skill set I have from training. I was like, how can I utilize this, in this space? And so she was like, check out Tipa Snow. Like, she's a really cool person. And, my mom's been a big fan of her forever. And so, I watched some of her videos, and just, she's from the South, from North Carolina. So she's got the Southern draw.
Oh,
But just she was so real, and I was like, this is like exactly the kind of energy we need, especially in a space that's so, either unknown or just sad, depressing, right?
yeah.
So I went down to North Carolina, got to train down there with her staff, and then she surprised us and was there, which was one really cool, but a little bit intimidating, because she's kind of like one of those, like, kind of like a rock star in that industry. So, her showing up and, can I join in? And we're all like, yeah, of course you can join in. But, of course, like, her asking us to do things in front of her was a little scary, right? And so got that certification, and then started doing trainings here at our center. And then I had a really good friend whose son plays basketball with my middle son. And she did training for Oregon Care Partners, mostly like in the DEI space for them. And so she was like, we need another trainer. They're looking for a guy who's, hopefully of color. She's like, I know you used to do training. And so she was like, hook me up with their person. And we kind of interviewed, and I was telling her how I was getting Tipa Snow certified and going through that. She's like, well, we need someone to do those trainings here too. So it was like, you know what, let's do it. So kind of just jumped in head first. So now I get to do, webinars, in-person trainings kind of all over the state, which has been really cool, to just the honor to be able to talk to people in such a difficult space and try to just give them things to make their life a little bit easier. And then started doing them. My mom and I opened a nonprofit here at our adult day, so we can help the people in between. We always kind of talked about the, like, there's things for children, right? Like that always exists in our world. We have so much set up for the people on the other end, but like the people in the middle are always getting left
Yeah.
out. Like there's nothing for them. And they're doing all the work a lot of the times, and being so stretched thin. So we started doing classes for people that are free for the community or for any of our clients that come here. We do like dementia-friendly events, art nights, dance parties. We just had a country concert actually a couple weekends ago, which was super cool. Girl she lives down in Tennessee, in Nashville, but she was from Oregon originally, so she came and performed at our center. It's just really cool to be able to see like people who don't have this opportunity anymore. Like they don't go to dances, they don't go to clubs, things like that, because when a person's with dementia, it's too hard. So seeing people who are dancing with their husbands or wives and they haven't danced with them in 10 years is just so cool to be able to see. And so I think that was kind of the part that was like, yep, I should be here. And then beyond that, my mom was her and my dad were the caregivers for my great grandma when she had Alzheimer's, my grandma when she had cancer, and then my grandpa when he had Parkinson's. And so we actually, my wife and I lived with my mom, my dad for a little while when she had my great grandma. And so it was really like crazy to have all these different generations within one home. But it was very like eye-opening to kind of see what happens within this disease that people just don't know. People kind of think like, oh, they just forget things, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like their brain is literally like melting away. It's dying. And so people don't always understand all the other things that are happening to them. And so I think it was really eye-opening for me there. And then my mom took me to the National Adult Day Conference that year in Chicago. And it was like a lot of people kind of our generation who were doing this work. And one of the sessions I was in, they asked kind of like, why are you in this space? What are you doing? And like almost every person was like, either my grandma, I'm here for her, I'm here for my mom. And I kind of had that same, we kind of identified on that. And I think I was like, this is what I need to do or where I need to be. So that's what I was like. I told my wife, I was like, I think I'm going to try to come on full time and figure this out and see how this works. And so here I am, those 3 years later now, and just loving every minute of it and loving getting to be able to navigate and help people navigate this tough disease.
Oh, that is so beautiful and obviously so special. Like I can feel that. I got cold chills several times when you were discussing this. This is such a testament of what it truly means to look after your community. And I feel like that's not easy. And a lot of
No.
people don't know the first step or how to do that, especially our age too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're in the late 30s, early 40s generation, and we're coming up on our parents, some of them maybe getting their first diagnosis. Some of them already had passed, or it's definitely grandparents have seen that where our parents were our age going through these
Yeah.
things. And it's like, you really don't know. And what do you do with when you have a small community, a rural area, and how do you work through that? And I heard you say you do webinars and things like that. Like, how do you make that outreach statewide?
So Oregon Care Partners, I know they do a lot of work. The state of Oregon, they do a lot of like outreach to different communities. I've been in a lot of the smaller communities around Oregon, which is sometimes pretty eye opening that, like you said, they don't have much for resources or just ways to even get help. Some of them, right, the closest hospital is like 2 hours away, or 45-minute
Yeah.
drive, whatever that is. And then as far as like resources, like transportation, like is non-existent in a lot of these communities, which
Yeah.
is a lot of times a big hang up why they don't have things like adult day or a lot of facilities or places where people could go when they're in that space. And that's hard. It's something that I think they're kind of trying to work on or figure out. But at this point, it's just one of those things that's kind of missing. And so whenever I'm there, it's always one of those, they always ask kind of like, why aren't there more things, to help
Yeah.
people in the rural communities? And it's one of those questions that I wish I could answer. But I'm hoping that we can solve through the education and just kind of, here, come to the classes, if you ever need, like I always am like, please outreach. If you need to call me for any reason, questions, whatever that is, feel free. Um, but it's definitely a place where it's kind of very underserved right now. And so the webinars help a bit. And then they do try to schedule us where we do go in person. Like I was in Medford last summer got to bring my son. So he kind of like hung out at the hotel and hung by the pool
Mhm.
while I was training people. But it was like just these small communities that don't get a lot of help. And so like they were of course very thankful, very grateful. to hear it, because again, it was like learning things that they had no idea, right? Like, they're like, oh, like I thought my person was just being stubborn. I thought they were just trying to manipulate me, and I'm like, I promise you, like it's their brain that it's none of this is what they want to do. But it's just like it's so eye opening for a lot of people. They just don't know what's going on, and I can't imagine trying to like help somebody that you care about and love and not really understanding what's happening, right? And,
Yeah.
um, so it's one of those things we're trying to work on, but it's hard, and from what I hear when I go to like the national conferences, it's something that happens everywhere, like every state, metropolitan areas, right? They've got quite a bit of resources, but when you get anything like an hour outside of there, it's just nothing, or they have to travel to find it.
Yeah. I mean, just thinking of, like I'd said, twice the baby, once the man type thing. That's for women and men. That's just a saying, right? Whatever.
Right.
But um, we're used to, as humans, I think, being able to evolve a brain and watch it grow.
Um,
And so we know the signs and symptoms per se when we're raising an infant to be 5 and what it looks like in between those years, and then from 5 to 10 and what it looks like between those years, and then after 10, it's basically crapshoot. But
yeah. Good luck.
but yeah, you're like, "Well, I don't know." So, there's too much external factors. But anyway, but when you're looking at an older adult
Yeah.
and they're, in their 60s or in their 50s or whatever stage this starts to happen, and you never know, and they don't even know, and
Yeah.
I think that's the thing is, like, they don't even know what's happening to them because they don't know how to rationalize that is different because they don't know that it's different, and
Yep.
then you, on the other hand, are expected to just deal with this new person that's the same body,
Yeah.
and it's really it's gotta be one of those, like, the slowest heartbreaks and the slowest breakup.
100%. Yeah, I feel like we do a support group here at our center. And a lot of times kind of the trainings that I do will not, I don't want to say turn into support groups, but a lot of times turn into just kind of like picking brain sessions and, asking for, what do I do if this is going on? And that's always the part that's like hardest for me. I try to kind of drive home is like, yes, this like obviously it's awful and it sucks for the person who's going through it, but it is hard for you too as the loved one or the caregiver. Like, do not
Yeah.
underplay that, because a lot of times people kind of they want to like feel like they need to do this alone, or they need to be, like I should be the sole caregiver and they should be with me 24/7. And I understand, where that piece comes from. But I guess Tipa Snow, she always says is like, nobody should be doing this alone. There should be at least 3 people involved in anybody's care, like minimum. And I
Mhm.
think that's why we always tell people, like, if whatever you need, like find a community, find a village, if it's adult day, if it's a center, if it's a social center, if it's just, you get together with another group of older people who are in a similar situation, but like find things to be able to like work your brain, work your social piece, because when you lose that, it becomes even harder. And I think the other part is like, not only they're caring for this person, but they're like you said, they're mourning the loss of them, because like yes, they're
Yeah.
not gone yet, but so much of them is going away. And like you said, seeing it grow from a kid where you are learning and you're seeing them become this person, where on the other end you're watching this person lose so much of who they were. And I think that's always the hardest part for loved ones to deal with. And I don't think they always know that they are even dealing with that until they really sit down and think through it. And oftentimes people don't do that, right? They're so busy, or they have kids of their own, or they have a full-time job, and they're also taking care of mom or dad or husband, wife, whoever it is. And they kind of lose themselves a lot of times. And
They do.
uh, that part I think is heartbreaking. And I think a lot of times people too will tell us, they're like, I wish you could have known him or her before the disease. And so we always find it super beautiful and treasures when they share with us like about their lives and who they were before the disease took hold, because there is so much like that they did. There's like these incredible humans. We only get to know this one small tiny aspect of them, but they had these entire lives. And so I think that's always one of my favorite things, is just learning about the people who come to our center, and who they were and who their families were. And like we have some family members, husbands, wives, who will come and kind of just hang out at the end of the day when they come to pick up their loved one, and just chill and talk with us, because a lot of times they lose that too, right? They don't have people
Yeah.
often anymore, especially if they like live alone, or are the rest of their family's out of town. They just kind of have nothing. And so they come and hang out with us, and we'll be their pseudo families, if you will. But I love that piece because it's just like it's so cool to be able to just engage with them and try to make their day better, I guess, in a way.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure you do, and I'm sure it's so impactful. I mean, I love that you said not to do this alone because I feel like the generation, for example, that's going through this now, let's say they're in their 80s,
Yeah.
right? They were raised on a premise of you don't cry, you don't show any emotions, except for you say I love you, and that's like that, or you pat each other's hand, and
Yeah.
very modest affection. And they are raised and brought up, and they raise their kids to be brought up as you fend for yourself.
Hmm.
And, the world's out to get you. Don't trust anybody.
Yep.
These people, they were raised by people who went through the depression if they weren't part of that anyway.
Absolutely.
And that generation mentality, I love them, and then I hate it for them so much because, like, my
Yeah.
grandparents, when my grandma was going through this, my grandpa was so stubborn on her care, and she was so stubborn on her care. And it was like, but you need people. You need to do this with other people who know what they're doing, you know, like
Yep.
get an in home health nurse or something. Take her somewhere that's not just to a shopping mall,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Not just a grocery store.
Yeah. Like,
If
come
they
on.
lose, yeah. I feel like that's one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough is the loss of socialization, community.
Yeah.
Something I always kind of drive home whenever I'm talking to somebody, especially if they're newer to their person having a diagnosis, or even if they don't necessarily have a diagnosis, but they're suspecting it's this. I'm just like, talk to them about something beyond the care. Like it's always like,
Yeah.
oh, did they go to the bathroom? Did you eat? Did you take your meds? And it's like, let's just talk about life. Talk about whatever you would
Yeah.
have before they had this disease, right? Like I'm sure you did not talk to your husband or wife only about did they eat, have a bowel movement, or have they taken
Mhm.
their medication, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I think people kind of lose, that they get so like overwhelmed or consumed with the care piece of it that they just kind of lose that. Just sit with your person, like veg out and watch some TV together, hold their hand, just be like with them, and how much that impacts them in that moment.
Oh, yeah. It does. I mean, was it Winnie the Pooh and Piglet? I know you'll know this, that, um, something was going on with Pooh, and Piglet was just like, "It's okay, I'll just sit here with you."
Yes, it is. I believe it is Piglet and Winnie the Pooh. And I think that's such like a valuable like life lesson. I think people don't always. It's like you don't always have to be fixing things. Like some of these things aren't fixable, but sometimes it's just like just listening or just being with somebody can go way further than people know. Like
Yeah.
sure, we engage people here all the time, but it's like a lot of times it's just sitting like some of our staff will just sit with certain people and like hold their hand while we're doing whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
Um, that human connection means way more a lot of times than trying to
It
um, you know
does.
do huge activities.
It does, and so often, like, for just what I know in my, um, situation, I've only got one situation, so I'm just gonna keep going back to that,
Of
but
course.
where my grandma, she was left alone a lot, because my grandpa needed to work for whatever, and so she was left alone with a can of Coke and some crackers and she liked to watch TV.
Sounds right.
And, like, and I'm working a full-time job, I didn't go over there. I also didn't know what I know now, and I'm
Yeah,
sure they didn't know either, and it's one of those, like, silent killers because, like you've said, and we just talked about, like, they don't even know that that's what's going on with them. Just
it's hard.
it's
That
sad.
it's heartbreaking. Yeah, and it happens, I think, so often. A lot of times, like, right, dementia has a lot of research has really just happened probably in the last 20, 30 years. Like, it's a newer science, if you will, especially in the
Mhm.
healthcare sphere. So kind of like we're still learning every day, right, about kind of the changes and what goes into it. But so often I think like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, people would pass away, and a lot of people don't know like dementia will kill you. But people typically think that it's just like, you won't die of it, but you just have it, but it will absolutely, like, it will eventually shut down all your systems.
Mhm.
But like a lot of times people, right, like they lose vision within dementia. It's something that people don't always know. And so I always try to think about like how often probably people like got in car crashes and died, and they just assumed it was a regular car crash, but it was probably because they couldn't see because they had dementia, or they forgot where they were going and went down the wrong way, whatever it was.
Yeah.
A lot of things that weren't attributed that were related to dementia that people probably just didn't know was happening. And I think that's something that's not talked about a lot, right? It's just kind of like, again, just forgetting things. Oh, they're forgetting stuff. It must be Alzheimer's. And so again, people just don't really have a full understanding of what the disease is. And I think that's kind of something I'm trying to just make aware. I think that's like one of my biggest goals is just for people to understand, like, this is what is happening. And especially because everybody, I think it's like 1 in 4 people over the age of 65 will get dementia or some form of it. And so we all will probably either have someone in our family who's got it or has had it, or we know somebody who has. Like, it touches almost every community. So I think the better people are equipped to understand it, one, it will make it so we don't react in bad ways. Because some of those people with dementia, right? If
Yeah.
that frontal temporal lobe is being affected, that thing that used to tell you probably shouldn't do this in public isn't telling them that anymore. And, so things like, a grandpa talking to their daughter or granddaughter about sex or those type of things, they do happen. But if you understand that, again, this is not them, they may be in a different space. They may be a 16-year-old guy right now in his head. And so it's
Dude,
like
yeah.
that understanding helps you kind of empathize or work through that better.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. And there's a lot of labeling too, right? They get labeled that they're bad or they're difficult. And it's like, if we just would people knew to work with them rather than just locking them away. Or like you said, so they spend the last 10 years of their life just, sitting in a box watching TV for
Yeah.
12 hours a day until they go to sleep. And it's like, that's not
Yeah.
nourishing the brain. And they could have such a better, quality of life at the end as opposed to just withering away till they die. And I think that's always the sad part of that we see too often.
Yeah. How do you spread your awareness? Like, what would you say? Obviously, this is a great platform. The FitZen Project is just like, I would do it here too. But how would you, let's say you are a rural community, and you don't have the ease of access like you do in cities. But even then, there's a lot of red tape, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
So how do you get to be accessible to people who feel like they're alone?
Oof, that's a powerful question, Rachel. Uh, well, I think there's a few different probably avenues that are available, or that people can probably try to explore. I mean, there's a lot of stuff online, so I think online
Right.
access is huge, and has probably offered a lot of good into this space that didn't exist again 20, 30 years ago. Um, but just like getting educated on what is happening within the disease. Like, even if you don't for sure have a diagnosis, you're like, like, I feel like there's like some of the changes are happening, or I'm seeing they're forgetting things, or they're not wanting to do stuff they used to love. Right. Or, you start to see some of these signs that sometimes will tell you that maybe either dementia is setting in or some other type of cognitive decline. But then finding things to do, like you may not have like a social center, like take them out, dude. Like, go for a walk in the sun. Like, if you go bowling, still go bowling. They still take them. Like, even if you can only go for 20 minutes, it's still for the 20 minutes, right? Because, like I always tell people, there's like a say, it usually has to do with children, but it's like if you had like 5 minutes, like you came back in time for 5 minutes, and you knew that this person that you're working with at some point is going to die, and you just get this 5 minutes again, how would you navigate that situation? And you probably wouldn't be
Oh,
distracted, right? You would probably like, I'm going to be in the moment as much as I can for that 5 minutes. And I'm
yeah.
like, do that with your person, because they're not going to be here. I mean, sadly, they're not going to be here for much longer, even though they could have Alzheimer's for 10 years. But like, in the scheme of life, like 10 years still is a blink of an eye if you spent 50 years with somebody.
Yeah.
So like taking advantage of those moments, and like, even when it's tough or when it's frustrating, still doing that. That's also why we do the webinars through our training. I know it's something for our nonprofit that we're looking to do. Like, we do every Thursday. Our music director, he's also a chaplain. And so we do like a fellowship service on Thursdays. It's very non-denominational. Like, I don't attend church or anything like that, but, I always attend that because it's fun, one, to be able to talk with the families and make it special for them. But another thing that they lose, right? But we also we stream that on like Facebook, on our Facebook Live, on our nonprofits Facebook. So that way people who can't come can still like attend and just, hear some fun songs. And Joe, he's our music director. He always kind of talks about things that are very, again, non-denominational, God as a whole. So it's just kind of whatever you believe. you're
Yeah.
welcome, but gives you kind of that piece or that community. But I think things like that, like if I would love to be able to find ways to make more of those happen, because that's always the hardest thing is that people just the not only the person with dementia loses this, but the loved one loses these things too. Like um, one of the conferences we went to, there was a gentleman who he had Alzheimer's like actively, but he could still like he realized that he had it. Like he was one of those lucky ones that could kind of understand what was happening.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and someone asked him like, what's the hardest thing about having it but knowing that you have it? And his answer, like, it surprised me because it wasn't that, how hard this is or like the struggle for me, but he's like, it's that my wife, like the calls that used to come, to invite to birthday parties, gatherings, like those don't happen anymore for her.
Oh,
And so it's like, I was telling people, so if you know somebody who's in this, call them. Like, even if they don't come, send the invite. But like so much of that aspect of their life they lose. And I think that's what people don't know. Or they, just kind of think, oh, it's just too much. Or like they have so much on their plate. I don't want to bother them. It's like, no, go bother them because nobody else is bothering them, And like you said, some people live alone, or they're just struggling with this by themselves. And sadly, like people who care for people with dementia, it's like over the age of 65, I believe it is. Almost 50% will pass before the person they take care of, which is like a shocking number. But it's again, because they stop taking care of themselves. They're not going to the doctor. Stress, compounds, and we know stress can come out physically. And so a lot of times people are like, oh no, I'm okay. Like mentally I'm exhausted, but I'm okay physically. Like those both get affected at the same time, and those
yeah.
traumas that are coming it's going to affect you. And so it seems like being able to do things for the both, like the person living with dementia and their loved ones, I think is kind of that missing piece. And
Yeah.
just finding ways to navigate that, whether that's, sharing little tidbits on social media or, um, you know, having people attend webinars. That's kind of like my goal is to expand that and expand that around Oregon, of course, at first. And then I would love to, work with other people to get it talked about in other states. Cause I think it's just, such a,
Nationwide.
yeah. I have a friend who I have done it, went to a few conferences with, and I was talking with her because she's down in Alabama. So she was asking if I would potentially come out to Alabama for the senior space out there to talk about dementia. And if it could happen, I'm absolutely going to go do it. But it was just like, she talked about how just in this space, especially a state like Alabama, where a lot of it is very rural, that people have just nothing. They don't know where to go, who to reach out to.
Yeah.
Like, there's things like the Alzheimer's Association that's amazing and or try to do as much as they can. But it's like getting people to do it though is hard. And you talked about generationally, like the online platform of anything is a struggle bus to get
It's so
people in the
hard. They
senior
don't
space to want to use that.
Google.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't do the phones. I
Yeah.
don't do the internet. It's like, please do, because there's so much out. Like I know, yes, there's obviously negative things on the internet, but there's also so much
Yeah.
knowledge, beauty out there that you can find if you just go look. A quick Google search and write billions of things at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But like how to get that generation to utilize that more too, because I think that would be extremely helpful. Because I know, like our generation, like when we go to take care of our parents, or if we get to that point where we all have dementia, like our families, like I'm sure your husband, my wife, they would be all over internet trying to
Oh,
find.
yeah.
And so it's like, how do we get them to do that?
The way Josh works, man, he would be like white on rice on research and all of it. He is let me find out what I can do. How can I support this? What's going on? What are you feeling? How am I supposed to feel? What if I feel this way? And like
I love that.
that is Josh in a
It is so
nutshell.
important, yeah. And that's like,
Yeah.
and like, we have some clients who come to our center too, who are like that. It's like, and their person usually thrives the longest. People don't always know, like, just because someone gets Alzheimer's, it does not mean one that they're dying next year. They're dying in a few weeks, right? Like I've seen people who have had Alzheimer's and have lived with it for a year. I've seen people who've lived 8 to 10 years. It's kind of the normal span. And like I have a really good colleague who she's out in New York and she's a professor at NYU, but her mom had Alzheimer's for 30 years.
Yeah.
But she attended an adult day center every day of her life once she got Alzheimer's. And she's always like, this is why I will always support adult day centers and things like this, because like, I think that's the only reason my mom lived as long as she did with Alzheimer's was because her brain was getting nourished. She was engaging with other people like her, not just, again, being stuck in a box watching TV because
Yeah.
it's too much hassle. It's like, oh, get them out. Like the things that I get to see every day with our seniors, like dancing with kids and dancing with our staff and doing trivia, word games, like we have them bowling in the middle of the thing. Like we were playing flag football the other day. The kids were playing flag football, and some of the seniors were getting involved with that. Like yoga. I know you love your yoga. We do like
Yeah, right.
Disney yoga with the kids, and some of the seniors will get down on the ground with them and are stretching. It's just like so cool to see. I'm like, they would never get this if they were just stuck at home.
Yeah,
It can make some of these symptoms not take hold for a long time, right? Like you get longer time with your person, and like to me, like that's like the biggest piece that like I would want, right? Like because it's
yeah,
too short as it is, right? And so I don't want to miss any of those moments. So whatever I can get, like I would want to do that. So I always encourage people like come hang out with us if you want to. If you want to come at lunchtime, or if you want to come just sit and relax and watch your person engage. They just assume that things like they're like, oh, my mom never does this at home, but like they're sitting at a dinner table with four other older ladies and just having a conversation like they're kids in high school again. It catches people off guard because they don't know that will happen because they kind of just, oh, where do they just eat dinner in their chair at their house, and so they don't really engage. But when you're with
hmm
other people in a social space, it's just they pick up on it. It's natural. It's like
yeah,
the autonomous things still stick, even again, pretty much till the very end. And so, kind of seeing that, I feel like is always really beautiful. And one of my favorite parts of the job is just having a senior. Like oftentimes they'll just come in my office and ask me a question, or sit and talk with me for a second. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. But I always roll with the punches in dementia. I feel like that's kind of big. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It's just kind of the rhythm of the conversation, or rhythm of the human experience.
Oh, I can just tell you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I mean, you light up when you are talking about this stuff. It just resonates through your whole entire being, and I can't love this enough for you. Like, this
Thank
is
you.
such a cool thing to see, and I'm glad you left banking. To hell with banking.
I
Nobody needs
Yeah,
it.
it's like, yep, yep. I feel like it's the right space, and
Mm,
uh, yeah, I feel like there's just such a like it's kind of changed my tune on a lot of things just within life. I think that's been one of the bigger pieces too. Like it's helped me kind of keep growing as a person. Where I think if I would have I earlier probably only but concentrated on, how much money I make, or, am I getting that next promotion or whatever those type of things
yeah,
were. Where it's like, yeah, those are great. But like when you talk to people in this space, like nobody ever, not one senior I've ever been like, if you could, like, there's one thing you go back and tell somebody, it's like, so I was like, nobody cares about how much money you made. One, you can't take it with you. So it does not
yeah.
matter, so if you die with $1 billion, you die with $20, it doesn't matter. You're still gone. Right. So I think that's kind of changed my tune on a lot of things where I'm like, I just want to like take advantage of the life piece of everything, spending more time with my boys and, yeah, having conversations with my 5-year-old, not just, oh, yeah, yeah, go do your thing. But like, if you want to tell me about Spider-Man, let's sit and talk about Spider-Man, like today on the way to school, it was like out of nowhere, he was like, Daddy, can you not play music in the car? And I was like, yeah, yeah. Why? Why don't I want to do it? He's like, I just kind of want to talk. I'm like, sure, buddy, you can talk about whatever you want. Like, that's absolutely okay. So we just talked about Marvel, about the Spider-Man brand new date coming out soon, the whole drive in. And so, but it was like one of the situations where probably earlier me may have been like, yeah, I just wanted to like zone out right while I'm driving to work. But no, like, I want to take advantage of that because I know again how short it is. And like we talked about earlier, you blink and they're in high school or they're full grown adults. And, we lose that time so quickly.
So quickly. And it's just wild because it just kind of resonates with me too is you not only are losing that time for like think about how fast it goes with your kids. It
Mm,
goes just as quick with everyone else around you. You
absolutely.
know, your spouse, your parents, your grandparents, your jobs, all of the things. And what I really appreciate the most about this conversation is you've tapped into leading a life with soul purpose
Yeah.
instead of that structure, rigidity, and just like you said, when am I gonna get my next promotion? When am I gonna life my life away?
Thank you. Go do the things, dude. Like my mom's getting ready. She's going to visit her sister this summer in Germany. And, she was like kind of on the fence. I'm like, dude, go. Like,
Yeah,
this may be the last time you ever see her, right? Or like, this could be the last time you're ever gonna have a chance to travel abroad. So like, go do it. Cause like,
yeah.
why? What are we waiting for? Like, so often people are kind of like, oh, I'm gonna wait till the right time. Like, when's the right time? Like, you're right.
There's
Like,
never a right time.
ever, yeah. Like I think about that with like kids. Like I remember people like when I was younger, and I had my first baby, and I mean, like, don't you feel like you're like young? And I was 25, right? And I'm like, I mean, not really, right? Like I feel like if we waited longer, like, what are we waiting for? Like, because I was like, oh, wait till you're financially ready. Like, are you ever financially ready? Like, because that doesn't happen. I can tell you right now, like, I feel like I have less money now than I did when I made less money. So it does. I don't think it really matters, right? It's like just go, like, live life, have fun, like, do what you can do. Because
Yeah.
like, sure, retirement fund's great, but if you save up all the time and you never get to use your retirement fund,
Ah,
it's just gone,
wow.
right?
My mom and my dad tell me this all the time. Like,
Yeah,
my mom retired significantly early,
yeah,
from what the states and things tell you have to do and should do, and she just kicked
mm.
that right in its teeth, and she's like, "I'm done, though. I'm done, and you will watch me. I'm done." And I love that so much, like, she's my biggest rock star in my life because she didn't wait, and what she did was she quit work 5 years ago,
Yeah,
and she's 62-ish maybe? I don't know. It's not
yeah,
even old enough to retire.
yeah, a
But,
baby in the retirement age.
yeah, she was, like, in her 50s when she quit, though, so it was just like, "Bah!" But
For sure.
anyway, now just last year, she bought this massive dually diesel whatever truck, I don't even know, Ford 250, I don't it's got some numbers, I don't know. It can pull a big ass camper,
It's
that's where I'm
big.
going with this. And she bought a camper, and now she drove that out to my wedding in Colorado from Kentucky,
Okay.
drove up through Yellowstone, went to Big Sky, Montana, and did the whole entire dream vacation with my son, my brother and his wife and kids, and my dad. While I went off to my honeymoon and lived my life, and my dream with me and Josh. And it was just phenomenal because now they're on their way back. She's scheduled this whole thing. They'll be back on Saturday. But either way, I'm just like, you're doing the damn thing. And
Mhm.
you're giving permission for everybody else around you to do it too.
Yeah,
And that's how I see you, Alex. Like, you're living this, like, soulful life on purpose with intention every single day to be there with your kids, be there with your family. You get to work with your mom and your son and make big community impact. That's not a small feat. That's huge, you know?
thank
That's a big deal. And you're now going statewide and nationwide for something that means something to
you.
people. And, like, the most sacred part of a person's life is the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's well, and I mean, super good for like, I'm happy for your mom, like, good for her for doing that because that's exactly what I think everybody should be able to do. And what a, like, cool, unique experience, like, for your son, right? Like, to getting to spend
Right.
that time with his grandma, like,
Like, "What's that like?"
that'll be there forever, right? Like, even if he doesn't
Yeah,
remember it, like, verbatim, like, emotional relationship matters so much.
it
Uh,
does.
like, those grandparent relationships mean so much more, I think, than people ever, kind of talk about, right? Like, of course, like, we know parents are important, but, like, the relationship with grandparents doesn't get talked about a lot. But, like, some of my favorite moments of my childhood, like, tie back to my grandparents. I can, like, I think of my grandma when I think of these type of things, like, all the time. And so, like, I
Yeah.
just think that's beautiful. I'm so happy that she got to do that and is getting to currently do that. Because, like you said, like, what are you waiting for? Right? Like, if she waited till it was like maybe she had a little bit more money, awesome. But maybe she doesn't get
And
to
you
enjoy
need
it the same
more,
way.
When you have more
Yeah,
money, you need more things. That's how it
exactly.
works. Then you
Yes,
have less.
always. Yeah, because we always want more, right? I feel like that's like the human conditions. We always
Yeah.
want more, no matter what. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes we just have to be in the moment. I think that's kind of the like something that I feel like I've learned just the last few years is just like just be in the moment, no matter what it is. Like whether it's with the senior or it's with your kids or with your loved one, your spouse, but just being with them. If it's doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing, but just doing something with them, I think is more important than anything else. And I think that's kind of what our kids will probably remember when they get older. Like, they're probably going to remember maybe the exact advice we gave them because, right, like how often do we truly listen listen to our parents? But
Yeah.
they'll remember kind of that, the examples that we set or, how we were present in their lives. I think that matters more
Yeah.
than anything.
Being present is the most important impact I think you could make on any human life.
Yeah.
Like,
100.
just be with somebody. It's really fun because, like, I feel like this is such a topic I could talk about for hours, and we've already
Yeah.
one down, but but I feel like with this specific disease,
Yeah.
I think all are important, but this specific one is such a moment by moment case
Yeah.
where it's so important to be present because you don't really know when they're actually there and they don't know when they're going to leave again.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's like being in the moment. That's one of the things I try to tell anybody who's caring for somebody with dementia. I'm like, one, quit worrying about being right. Like, it does not matter. Like, if it's true, or, like we're so conditioned to be like, oh, no, mom, that's not right. Or, no, dad, like, why? Like, who cares if they're correct? Who cares if what they're saying makes perfect sense? Like, just being there with them and enjoying their presence like matters so much more, because you'll miss all of that, right? Like, I think the things we kind of miss when we think about someone we love who's gone, it's like, we don't necessarily miss what they said, but we miss, like, we don't give them a hug, we don't miss like those type of things, maybe the sound of their voice, right? And so it's like that's still all there. Like, just take advantage of those moments and take pictures, take videos. Like, we use a social platform kind of thing that's made for childcare, but we use it for our senior space too. But we take pictures of our seniors all the time and share with the families, and like a feed that they can go back on. So like when the person, inevitably leaves, they can go back and they have a whole, 500 pictures of their person that they probably would have never, ever had they not come to our center. And that's something I tell people, like, if you don't go to center, like, take pictures of everybody with everybody, because like someday you will like treasure that, and you might forget what they look like in your head, but having that picture will make such a difference.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think too often we kind of focus on like the big picture, I guess, if you will, and it's like, no, like, life's really not a big picture. To me, it's more like life's all the little small moments,
Like
like,
right
is
now.
what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
the
Like, even I
big,
think like us getting to know each other, right? Like the Disney program, like, even though
yeah.
we probably don't remember every single solitary thing that happened during that time, but like it mattered, like the friendships matter. And
Yeah.
now we're 20 years later, we still are in connection, right?
Yeah.
And I think stuff like that's so cool.
Yeah. And it's really also cool is like, just with that, just talking with the Disney aspect too, just kind of rounding back out with that, we made an impact on each other's lives and didn't even realize it. And I feel like that is the lesson in all of it is you don't know what you don't know in the moment, but that energy field is what we all felt. And like, I'm like, yeah, Alex, you're a lifer. I'm going to be in your life for forever, whether you love it or not. And
Fair,
like,
fair.
same, right?
Yes. Still
Like,
love it.
we will check in twice a year, and that's perfect. But just know I'm not going anywhere.
Absolutely. I feel like the program is super unique for that, because I know, like, if you go to college or whatever, like, you get these relationships for like this year long, right? Like, you're there 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But because the program we did was so short, but like you get super close with people that it gets
So
such a short
intense.
span. Yeah, it's like exactly. It's like an intense relationship that I don't think people always understand if they haven't done something similar.
Yeah.
I think that's it's interesting to see. I feel like social media has kind of helped people see that. Like, I see people's TikToks and they talk about like how hard it is. Like, people don't talk about how hard it is to leave these people that you just made this amazing relationship with. But it's like heartbreaking but beautiful at the same time.
Yeah. It's bittersweet for sure, which such is life, right?
Yeah, right. 100%.
Gosh. Wow. I really appreciate you getting on here and talking this and, opening up so many avenues of conversation, so many avenues of what it actually looks like, may feel like, and can be like for someone with dementia, as it's not the end of your life. It's just learning how to live with it.
Yeah.
And it's
not the end of the story. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's another chapter. Like, I feel like that's kind of, I feel like I tell everybody, I'm like, everybody's journey, of course, is different within dementia and, of course, life. Like, maybe we're not on the same boat. I say we're all on the same cruise ship, right? We're just in different cabins. But it's kind of like, I tell people, like, just do whatever you want to do. Like, don't hold back. Because I promise you, like, you will never regret doing more than you wanted to do, but you'll always regret doing less than you wanted to do. So that's kind of one of those things I try to, like, tell people, regardless of what it is. I tell my sons, I'm like, dude, dance to the dances, go to the dances, like, all the things. Like, if somebody's making fun of you because you're dancing and having fun, that's a them problem.
That's
go
a
do your
big
thing.
problem.
Yeah, because when you graduate, you will not care. I promise you.
And no one's going to care in 20 years or remembering you. And You never have to
Yes,
see him again.
those memories will matter way more to you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, thank you so much. This touched my heart. I think it will the collective as well. And, I want to have your resources in the show notes and everything that we can possibly get for all of the dementia and your dementia care training, even if that's something that you bring to Kentucky, we can.
Absolutely. I'll share our nonprofit website. We've got a resource page on there, and we've got stuff about what we do. Any way that I can spread it is one of those things I want everybody to have some sort of access to it, even if it's easy, just kind of small digestible things, but just something they can have to make their life a little easier.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being on today.
I'm honored. Thank you.